Hello everyone and welcome to Spring Calculus 1. My name's Terry Barnes and I'll be helping you through this journey. I wanted to take a quick orientation video time to show you how the course is set up and talk about my expectations. So it's important to watch this video to get answers to maybe some of your questions that you might have. So first of all, let's talk about the front screen here. And this is where your announcements will be. This here in the middle is where you can access Pearson the easiest way, either by using this purple tab or the pull down menu. And sometimes if you have been working and you come back, the purple oblong here may not show up, so just use this one or refresh your browser. But you have two options there. Over here is your content browser, and everything pretty much that you need is there. There's a few things up here. Assessments, if you want to look at your grades in the Brightspace gradebook, you could look here. If you want to look at your attendance, if you want a full thing of content, it is here. And then your e-text would be right here. So let's go through what's in here just briefly, and then you can do it more completely on your own. So the instructor plan is here, and contact information is here. Here's my office phone, my office location, Math 210. My conference hours, this is probably going to change to 8:30 to 9:30, and I just have not updated that here. But 8:30, 9:30, and then in the afternoon, there's hours here. Thursday will be the same, 8:30 to 9:30 here. So, and anytime Zoom by request. If you noticed, you don't need a hard copy of the text. You got this course as inclusive access, and so you have the electronic book included in your tuition payments. You do need a graphing calculator. I teach with a TI 8384. If you have a different one that you're familiar with and that you can use, you're welcome to use that. But I teach with the TI 84. Down here we have our course objectives or competencies, and that's the things that we will try to cover. Course attendance and participation. If you miss more than 25% of a face-to-face or online, you can be withdrawn with a W. And so you need to read through this, and we'll talk about what constitutes attendance in a little bit. But that's important, 25%, okay? Here is an outline of the schedule. And I also have this as a calendar that you could print out for yourself. So we'll talk about that more when we get to the calendar tab, but it's all right there. Grading. My grades are divided into homework, tests, and final exam. Homework counts 30% of your average. Tests counts 50% of your final average. Tests, there are two. You can take 2 times. The higher of the grade will count in your average. Homework you can do until the due date, and then your score is frozen. But up until that point, you can do it as many times as you want. There are due dates, so you'll want to be aware of that so you don't miss a due date and then lose the ability to go back in. For tests, online, you have to have passed all the homework with at least a 70. And so if you don't, the test will not open for you. Keep that in mind. Final exam is cumulative, and it counts 20% of your final average, and you only take that one time. So you want to prepare for that, and you only get one time in that. All right, in this online course, attendance is based on participation. You must work each week either on homework or test. If you do not complete any work in a week, that counts as an absence. You are allowed 4 such weeks, but if you receive a 5th, you could be dropped for attendance issues. So Don't do that. Just work each week, and that keeps you completely fine on the attendance. And the formal policy is right here. So I think those are the highlights of the syllabus. I would say to go through and read it real carefully for yourself. All right, so student resources for spring, maybe go through that. And then down here, problem sets, lecture notes, video lecture playlist. This is where all the information for you to be successful in homework and tests exists. So let's click here. You'll notice these are links. So if you go to Problem Sets Chapter 2, and we'll pull that up, click on this PDF, and I don't know, let's see. I apologize, somehow those didn't go in order when I put them as a link. Here is Problem Set 2.1, so let's go here. All right, so finding the average rate of a function, just some different questions, and you can see the answers to some of these are already included, but there's 5 pages of those. It takes a while because some of it just has a lot of room for the answers. So those are some problems to practice to get ready for the homework. So you could print those or you could just read them, whatever. Let's go back and look at the lecture notes. So after problem sets, there's the lecture notes. So here's lecture notes for Chapter 2. And these also are not in order. I got to check on that. But if not, try to go in order. So here's 2.1. And if you were in class, this is what we would be writing down on how to find the average rate of change, whether it's a trig function or a regular numerical function, quadratic or exponential, whatever. So then we talk about finding the slope of a curve. All these things we'll get into. Now, here is that problem set with the work shown. And you can go through it and see, oh, okay, I see what we're doing. I understand what we're doing here. And that is average rate of change. Then we get down to some other things. So I'm not going to go over the topic there, but that's what the lecture notes look like. So let's go one more. All right, so lastly in that, we have lecture notes and then video lecture playlists. So if we go to Chapter 2, this is my YouTube channel, and all the sections are here with a video, and it will be me talking through the work in the section. So like you can see, about 18 minutes, maybe 20. That's kind of an average, maybe 15. So it just depends on the topic and how many problems as to how long the videos are. But the videos are really me helping you through that. All right, so let's say you went in and you looked at problem set 2.1, you went through the lecture notes for 2.1 and watched the video for 2.1. Now you may not need to do all of that. Maybe you've got it figured out just from watching the video. But all of that is there for you. Now you're ready for the homework. And so here, 2 options to access Pearson, right here. Or if that disappears, you can do a pull down window and just say open a new window. So let's try here. Open Pearson. Let's see if we're going to get it done. Okay, so that came up, and then you would not see these, but you would have the student links. And so here is my MathLab All Assignments. Let's go there. And these are the ones available, and if you'll notice, it says the due date for these are January 31st at 11:59 p.m. And so this is the only part that's available right now. January 31st is the deadline for that. Let's look at section 2.1 on the homework. And you would get started. So here is the homework. Now we're not going to go through that, but that's how the question would work. If you are ready to do an answer, click in the answer box, and if you'll notice down here at the bottom, icons show up if you need a fraction, exponent, square root, etc. And if you hit more, you get even more icons. So that may be important. Here's infinity, some of the Greek symbols down here. So that is how you would do that, and hit save, and you're out of the homework. Let me go out of there. All right, so it reminds you that it is due January 1st, unlimited per question. So you can do this question as many times as it takes to get it right. All right. All right, so the only thing else is schedule and office hours, which we talked about. You can click there and see that again. Handouts, let's look at handouts. If you have a TI Nspire, then that document might be helpful. Inverse trig graphs, inverse trig derivatives. The rest in handouts for calculus, there's a link like we saw before. So there's some algebra stuff, calculator phone apps, common derivatives, etc. Everything is here. There's trig, which may be helpful because we do encounter trig in the course. So lots of handouts there that might be helpful. Let's look a little bit more deeply at the calendar. So here's our calendar. So we start out, and all of Chapter 2 is available January 12th, due January 31st. The exam for Chapter 2 is also out there and due January 31st. On February 1st, Chapter 3 through 3.5 will be available. And it's all available February 1st and due February 21st. So that's the first half of Chapter 3. Then on February 22nd, the second half of Chapter 3 will be available, and the test for those 5 sections. And they'll be due March 21st. Chapter 4, March 22nd is when it will be available and will be due April 11th. And Chapter 5 will be available April 12th and due April 30th. The final exam will be available April 29th and due May 6th. So I would print this. I mean, the things won't show up till the correct due date, but just to keep you aligned on when things are due, maybe print this and keep up with it, okay?